Let me begin this session by reading Acts chapter 2, verse 42 to 47. They devoted themselves to the apostles' teaching and to fellowship, to the breaking of bread and to prayer. Everyone was filled with awe at the many wonders and signs performed by the apostles. All the believers were together and had everything in common. They sold property and possessions to give to anyone who had need. Every day they continued to meet together in the temple courts. They broke bread in their homes and ate together with glad and sincere hearts, praising God and enjoying the favor of all the people. And the Lord added to their number daily those who were being saved. Sa sininga session, I would like to discuss the topic, the essential elements of a church. Sa sininga text sa ato nga ginbasa bagulang, we find seven elements, essential elements of a church. So ang aton nga na means ang essential elements is these are important ingredients that make the church, no? So dapat ini tanan nga mga ingredients makita gid sa isa ka gathering, no? So there are seven that we can find in this passage na aton nga ginbasa bago lang, no? So the first is there must be the preaching of the word of God. Sa links na text, they devoted themselves to apostolic teaching. So ang church, there must always be the preaching of the word of God. Ang word of God is central to the church, no? So this is the center of church worship, the word of God. The second is prayer. They devoted themselves not only to the apostolic teaching or to the word of God, to the teaching of the word of God, but they also devoted themselves to prayer. So prayer is the second essential element of a church. For a church to be a church, the word of God must be preached and prayer must be present in the gathering. The third is fellowship. So they devoted themselves to the fellowship. That means that they devoted themselves to one another, sharing with each other. Ang Greek nga word for fellowship is koinonia, which means having things in common. But sa lingon nga ang imo, hindi lang imo, kundi ang imo akon man, kagang akon, hindi lang akon, imo man. So, in Christian fellowship, there is sharing. We share things, we share our life, we share a lot of things. And the fourth is communion. They broke bread from house to house, selling sa Acts chapter 2, so, daily. So that is, communion is part of the church. No? In those times, during those times, it was even part of the church on a daily basis. They broke bread every day. No? So this is another important element of the church. The the fifth is worship. The fifth is worship. uh, in the book of Acts, in Acts chapter 2, it says there that they were praising God, no? So essential part of a church is worship, no? The singing of songs, the declaration of the goodness of God, the declaration of his greatness, of his wonderful love, of his wonderful works. So worship is part of, is essential in the church. And it also says, number six, another essential element in the church was they gave. No? They gave to everyone who had need. No? So giving was part of the original church. The seventh essential element of a church is evangelism. Acts chapter 2, the verse that we read in verse 47, it says, "And the Lord added to their number daily those who were being saved." In other words, they were reaching out. They were reaching out to those who did not know Jesus Christ and bringing them to the Lord. So there was evangelism. So these are the seven elements, seven important elements, essential elements of a church. Ining pito ka essential elements nag-define sang church. So dapat sa church makita gid ini basically ang seven elements nga ini. So sa aton nga ginaobra subong sa house church system nga ginabutang naton ang mga churches sa mga panimalay sa aton nga mga members, ining seven elements are going to be found in our house churches. So amo ang reason nga ang agin share ko ini sa sini nga session ang seven elements of a church, because these seven elements dapat gid i-silo, i-transport no sa pakadto sa mga sa mga pakadto sa mga homes naton, so that our homes will become house churches according to the pattern or the model na ginpakita nila sa Acts chapter 2. So this ends our session. Please watch the next sessions after this. Thank you so much.